Rashida Tlaib wants to load up everyone in the entire country with a taxpayer-funded debit card. And you won't believe how she wants to pay for it. Joe Biden is back, and he makes about as much sense as usual. Plus, the White House and Senate come together on a massive coronavirus aid package. All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour.
And God bless the United States of America.
All right, friends, welcome to the show. Happy Wednesday. I hope you're having a great week. There's been progress. In Capitol Hill on what's going on with the aid package for Americans and this idea of getting people back to work. The president talked about it yesterday. We're going to get into that. But first, I want to talk about Rashida Tlaib, Nancy Pelosi, and the Democrats, because I looked back and it was just Friday, just a few days ago, 5 days ago, that I talked about how it was so cool to see Democrats and Republicans coming together to get things done. They passed a few bills. It looked like things were progressing. Republicans were working with Democrats. 5 days later, or shortly after that show, everything changed. Everything's back to normal. And the Democrats see this nationwide crisis, this coronavirus pandemic, as an opportunity for massive government intervention, more and more spending, and pet projects. And this is being led by Nancy Pelosi and members of the squad. We'll get into some of Nancy Pelosi stuff in just a second. But I want to start with Rashida Tlaib, because it's just amazing what the nonsense that these people propose, and they think it's all right. We're in a crisis, massive government, it doesn't matter. So now what does she want? She wants everyone in the entire country to get a taxpayer-funded debit card, like $2,000 in the bank to start, $1,000 every month for up to a year after the coronavirus is passed. And the way she wants to pay for it is just nuts. So first, let's put up this tweet. This is Rashida Tlaib saying, "Hey, Donald Trump, let's provide relief from this crisis for people by giving preloaded debit cards to every person in America. No additional debt. We'll just mint 2 coins. Hashtag ABC Act. Hashtag mint the coin." So what is she talking about? You're probably wondering. Here's a report from Fox News that explains it. In an attempt to help ease the burden of the coronavirus pandemic on Americans, Representative Rashida Tlaib released a plan last week for what is essentially a temporary universal basic income that would be distributed to all individuals in the United States, including illegal immigrants, to be funded by printing 2 $1 trillion coins. The plan, outlined on Tlaib's website, would send a debit card with $2,000 preloaded on it to every person in the U.S. and reload it with $1,000 every month until 1 year after the end of the coronavirus. Are you kidding me? This is exactly what I've been talking about. When we come into situations like this, rather than let capitalism do its thing, rather than find out ways to keep the economy going, which I've alluded to before, and we're going to talk about that in the show, Democrats, those on the far left, and even some Republicans see this as an opportunity to spend. Just extra spending, extra spending. It doesn't matter what the price tag is. It doesn't matter what it does to the economy in the long run, to taxpayers in the long run, to our debt. It doesn't matter. Let's do it. Let's do it now. Here's more from Fox News. Tlaib's plan tracks closely along the lines of former presidential candidate Andrew Yang's UBI proposal that made his campaign extraordinarily popular with a niche audience. Tlaib would take advantage of an obscure provision in federal law that ostensibly allows the Treasury to mint commemorative coins, to have the U.S. Mint make $2 trillion platinum coins that would be purchased by the Federal Reserve at full face value. This is just insane. And Tlaib isn't the only one who's pushing things. Nancy Pelosi has jumped on board and saw on the House side an opportunity to push the Green New Deal. She's loading up the House side's package, coronavirus aid relief, things that people are waiting on. Democrats, her constituency, Democrats around the country, they're waiting on this aid. She's holding it up for Green New Deal proposals. The NRCC, the National Republican Congressional Committee, jumped all over this. They put out this tweet. They said, "People are dying from coronavirus, but Speaker Pelosi is blocking the relief package Americans need to fund a return of the Obama phone and a host of other progressive handouts. You can't make this up." So in that tweet, there was a link to the NRCC. They put a page together. I want to put this up. And this just shows some of the ideas that Nancy Pelosi is pushing in their so-called coronavirus relief package. Check this out. Expansive new tax credits for solar and wind energy, new emission standards for airlines, and her requirement of full offset by 2025, increased collective bargaining for big labor, same-day voter registration, a bailout of the postal service, on and on and on. And then, of course, the last one, $1 billion to build on a program expanded by President Obama that provides discounted phone service for low-income consumers. So the comeback of the Obama phone, plus Green New Deal, plus a whole lot more. That's what they think is appropriate for a coronavirus aid package. It's just absolutely unreal. So next, I want to talk about Joe Biden because he went silent. You haven't heard from him in a while. Well, he's back. He's gotten on the airwaves both on Monday and on Tuesday, talking about leadership, talking about coronavirus, talking about his ideas of addressing the coronavirus outbreak. And here's Joe Biden.
I've laid out a very detailed, in-depth plan for what I think we should be doing. You can read it on joebiden.com. We need immediate action on testing, on research for treatments and vaccines, on leading a global response to beat the virus everywhere.
Okay, well, that sounds exactly like what's being done. There's been 55,000 confirmed cases in the U.S. How do you confirm a case? By testing. Testing's being done. Masks are being delivered. The president outlined the millions and millions of products of supplies that are currently being manufactured and delivered. And he starts off his announcement with that. It makes no sense, but here is Joe Biden at his best.
We need to activate the reserve corps of doctors and nurses and beef up the number of responders dealing with these crush of cases. And in addition to that, we have to make sure that we are in a position that we are. Well, let me go to the second thing. I've spoken enough of that.
Well, that one made a lot of sense. That was Monday. Then yesterday, like I said, he's making the rounds. He was on The View, and he was asked this question.
In Hot Topics, we talked about Trump saying the government would reassess the recommended period for keeping businesses shut and people at home. Are you at all concerned, as Trump said, that we cannot let the cure be worse than the problem itself?
All right, I hate that question personally because you already know how the politicians on the left are going to answer it. We actually have more on that in the show, but they're going to say we can't put the economy ahead of the lives of our seniors. Every life's important, and along that kind of line. So surely that's how Joe Biden would answer it, right? Here's what he said.
We have to take care of the cure. That will make the problem worse no matter what. No matter what.
We have to take care of the cure. That will make the problem worse. I have no idea what that even means. One more time.
We have to take care of the cure. That will make the problem worse no matter what. No matter what.
Yep, I still don't know what that means. I have no idea what he's talking about, and I'm sure most people don't either. So next, I want to talk about the Senate and the White House, because for days now, the Senate's been negotiating. They failed to reach an agreement. Late last night, actually early this morning, they came out and announced that the Senate has reached an agreement on a coronavirus aid package that we can finally send over to the House and get something done. The Senate was really slowing things down, failing to agree. Now they finally come together on a close to $2 trillion aid package. And here's a report from the Washington Times. The White House and Senate leaders of both parties announced agreement early Wednesday on unprecedented emergency legislation to rush sweeping aid to businesses, workers, and a healthcare system slammed by the coronavirus pandemic. After days of intense discussions, the Senate has reached a bipartisan agreement on a historic relief package for this pandemic, said Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, a key negotiator. It will rush new resources onto the front lines of our nation's healthcare fight, and it will inject trillions of dollars of cash into the economy as fast as possible to help American workers, families, small businesses, and industries make it through this disruption and emerge on the other side ready to soar. So what's in the bill? What are some of the details that involve $2 trillion? Here's some of those details from the Washington Times. The unprecedented economic rescue package would give a direct one-time payment of $2,100 per adult and $500 per child directly to the public. Furloughed workers would get whatever amount a state usually provides for unemployment, plus $600 per week add-on, with gig workers like Uber drivers covered for the first time. Republicans want inclusion of an employee retention tax credit that's estimated to provide $50 billion to companies who retain employees on their payroll and cover 50% of a worker's paychecks. Companies would also be able to defer payment of the 6.2% Social Security payroll tax. Democrats pointed to gains for hospitals, additional oversight of the huge industry stabilization fund, and money for cash-strapped states. To provide transparency, the package is expected to create a new inspector general and oversight board for the corporate dollars, much as what was done during the 2008 Troubled Asset Relief Program bank rescue, officials said. So that's the House and Senate. The Senate side, they've got to reconcile with Nancy Pelosi in the House. While all of that was going on yesterday, President Trump was talking to the media, gave his press conference, and stated the need to get the economy going. I've been watching his press conferences every single day. I've been watching New York Governor Andrew Cuomo's press conferences every other day, and they're both stressing the need. This is what I've been saying 3 weeks ago while they were doing all this shutdown, the need to get things going. And there's no need, in my opinion, to massively shut down the entire U.S. economy to protect a portion of the population that is vulnerable when most of the population is not vulnerable. Now we are isolating everybody when we could isolate those that are the most at risk and get most of the other people back to work so we don't crush the economy. So President Trump was talking about that. He was talking about the needs to continue on with the programs to fight the spread of this, social distancing, avoiding large gatherings, washing your hands. And as we do that, this is what the president said.
Ultimately, the goal is to ease the guidelines and open things up to very large sections of our country as we near the end of our historic battle with the invisible enemy. It'll go on for a while, but we win. We'll win. I said earlier today that I hope we can do this by Easter. I think that would be a great thing for our country, and we're all working very hard to make that a reality.
All right, so this is great news from the president. And it's what I've been saying for weeks. It's what Andrew Cuomo over in New York is saying, despite the fact that their state is getting slammed, that it's the epicenter of the United States as far as coronavirus. But there's got to be ways to protect those that are most vulnerable and get most people back to work. This will not spread if we practice washing our hands, social distancing, avoiding large gatherings. We can still get the economy going, do all of those things, and protect those that are most vulnerable. But as soon as President Trump said this, you knew that the left was going to attack. As soon as he alluded to it, you knew that they were going to jump on it because, for one thing, with the economy shut down, it gives the left an opportunity for more massive government spending and for the economic numbers to go south, unemployment to go up, and the president to look bad. That's what the Democrats and that's what the left wants. Here's just one example. This is on MSNBC, on Joe Scarborough. This reporter was talking. This is not an opinion journalist. This is a so-called journalist. They're a White House correspondent. Check out what he said.
Aides come to him and suggest, like, hey, this is dire. We're trying to present to you a realistic sense of how long this can take and how bad it will get. He doesn't want to hear it. He is someone who his whole life has sort of asserted his own sense of reality. He creates his own truth. That doesn't work in this situation. It may have worked with Page 6 and some of the gossip pages.
Wow, it's just nuts. And we've heard it from others too. We've heard it from Joe Biden. We've heard it from the left. I alluded to it at the beginning of the show. This talk that they're so concerned that they say we can't put one life ahead of the economy. Well, first of all, that doesn't really apply to them when they're talking about the hundreds of thousands of lives that are lost every year through abortion. That's a topic for a different story, for a different show. They don't talk about that. And here, this idea that we can't put one life ahead of the economy, we do it every day. We do it all the time. Just about a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, I looked at the CDC's weekly flu report. It said, so far this season, there's been 350,000 hospitalizations, 20,000 deaths. That was just a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks. So this weekend, I looked it up again. I got the latest update. 390,000 hospitalizations, 23,000 deaths. So just in that time that I've checked, we've had 40,000 more hospitalizations and 3,000 more deaths. Okay? This is 23,000 total. Worldwide, there's 19,000 deaths from coronavirus. Worldwide, we've already lost 23,000 people to the flu this season. And we never shut down anything. We never altered. People didn't stay home. They didn't social distance. They didn't do anything. The economy went on as normal. And yet we've lost 23,000 people so far. So there's got to be a balance between what we do for the economy. So far in the United States, we've lost around 800 to coronavirus. That's bad. We need to stop it. We need to slow it. But we don't need to alter our entire way of life in order to do it, because we've already lost 23,000 to the flu and we keep right on going. No one does anything. They might say, oh, whoa, I don't want to catch that. And then they go on with their lives. There's got to be a middle ground. There's got to be a balance between those two extremes to keep this down, to keep our seniors safe, and to get people back to work. So folks, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe. And when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified. And we'll see you next time. I'm Bobby Eberly. This is a 13-minute news hour. Okay, friends, just a little reminder before you go, and no, this does not count against my 13 minutes. Please hit the subscribe button below and tell your friends. And if you happen to miss our last show, you can check it out right here. And also for great conservative news and commentary, please check out GOPUSA.com. All right, folks, we'll see you on the next show. Have a great day.